ENTV today. I'm excited to be bringing you Karen Rudolf to the stage. This is going to be a fun one. Karen is all about creating solutions. Karen, for those that don't know you in ENTV, how do you introduce yourself? Like, because you do a lot of things and you've done a lot of stuff. So where do you start?
Wow. At the beginning? No. I call myself an empowerment coach. What I am, um, the uh, super stress reliever is what I've been best known as. My journey has been all around holistic well-being and really making a difference in people's lives before they get to burnout, because the body is always talking.
Okay, so I'm feeling a little bit burned out, just a little bit tired. So can we go into that? The body is always talking.
The
Can we
body,
do?
oh, yeah, absolutely. The body's always talking. So coming from a nursing perspective, and this is how I rock out with a lot of my clients, is to thine own self be true. Shakespeare said it back in, I think it was 1633 in Hamlet when he wrote to thine own self be true. And it's really gets down to the core of your who you're being. Everything is energy. So if you look at the everything is energy, who are you being that's pulling you out of your greatness, so to speak? So a lot of times it's the stories we tell ourselves, the not enough, the not being loved, the not being heard, or making something mean whatever we're making it mean. Oh, yeah, little Johnny goes to the grocery store and mom, he's looking at the cereal box. I'm aging myself. The cereal box is full of little prizes and then the inside of it. And mom goes around the corner. Well, now he can't find mom, and he's making it mean that mom abandoned me. And then his brain starts looking for ways and means of verifying and justifying the fact that not is it just mom, but women now in general. So his whole life, until he gets that out of his space, the body is holding on to all of that energy. And it manifests itself in some way, shape, or form, usually in the form of stress, you know, um, uh, you know, uh, forgive me, knee pains, right? So fear of moving forward, back pains, usually around money issues, shoulder pains, around holding on to too much stress of others, right? You're taking on the weight of the world. And your body is always talking in that way. And until you get to the core of it and shift that energy around it, you're going to continue to have more of the same. And then what happens is your body knocks, knock, knock. You don't answer, you pop a pill, you're just masking the symptoms. It's not going away. It's still there until you address the core issues.
Let me go into a bit more of each one of those ones you talked about. So back pain, shoulder pain. Can you just dive a bit more into each of those so people understand?
Yeah. So for instance, you'd like to move forward. You're working on a project and you don't know what it looks like, or maybe you have a background story going on since childhood that you were stupid or you don't know how, or you don't, because there's a byproduct, there's a cause and effect for everything. So let me talk about mine, because then perhaps you and your audience can relate to it better. So when I was I must have been five, I was very studious. I wore thick glasses back then, which that's a whole nother story in and of itself. But at any rate, I wore thick glasses and I made myself legally blind because I wanted to be like the cool kids that had the big, blue wingtip glasses, which were really cool. I'm really aging myself now, but the wingtip glasses, and I really wanted it. And they had the e-charts back then. So instead of staying right, I would go left. So my mother was saying to me, money doesn't grow on trees. You're going to wear those glasses. So I literally made myself blind. And by the time I was in school, I was having to sit in the front row. And the teacher, she looked like Snow White, Cinderella, kind of, with the long, straight blonde hair. And she gave us spelling words, little tiles. And on these tiles, I was very studious. I'm doing my spelling words, and I raised my hand very innocently and say, I don't have enough tiles to do the assignment. And all of a sudden, she starts laughing. caused the whole class to start laughing, and I was dumbfounded. I wanted to hide underneath the table. And in that moment, she came over to my left side, she squatted, and she pointed to the back of the room. Now, mind you, I'm in the front of the room, right? And on the chalkboard on the side of on the chalkboard, it says April Fool's Day. And I'm looking at it and I can't relate to it. My parents don't play those games, and everybody is laughing. So I felt that they were laughing at me rather than with me, so to speak. And I made it mean in that moment that I must be stupid because I don't know what the joke is all about. I wanted to climb under the table. So in that instant, I declared I would never open my mouth again. I went through my whole high school career up through college, and it was like, Karen, what's the answer to? I don't know. I don't know. Ask someone, I don't know. And I would pass all my exams, but this fear of speaking. Well, fast forward, I mean, I'm out there in the world now. So if I want to be out there in the world and doing what I do, I've had to clear all those old stories. And is it easy? It's never easy, but it doesn't mean that fear doesn't show up. So fear comes into your body in some way, shape, or form. And for a lot of people, it comes up with fear of moving forward because I don't know how, right? So anything with the lower leg is all about fear of moving forward. So anytime you're having a pain in there or pain in the knee, I shouldn't say every time because there are extenuating circumstances. You're standing up a job in nursing and you're on concrete all day long and you're walking, your knees are going to give out. I'm talking like an average layperson who is working an average job, sitting, standing, whatever, doing a project, and there's that fear, it's going to manifest in some way, shape, or form in the body. Somebody who takes on, people pleasers, right? People pleasers, usually incredible shoulder and neck pain because they're pleasing everybody else but themselves. They haven't looked. It always, always, always begins with self.
I've
So
struggled with that one.
yeah, right.
Yeah, shoulder.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So there's nothing wrong, right? Don't make yourself bad wrong for any of this because now you have an awareness. What are you going to do with the awareness? You get to choose, right? And that's the beauty of the work. You get to choose, but most people will get the information. A majority of people will get the information and make themselves wrong, which just compounds the issues rather than actually dealing with them, right? It's so easy to pop a pill. Oh, I've got a shoulder pain. Let me go take a Motrin and get on with my day because I have to do, rather than the being, which comes from the heart, right? So the body-mind connection, when you're in your heart, you're being. It's an energy. What are you being? What are you intending to put out there in the world? So I declared, I think it was in 2007, I declared I'm love. And all of a sudden, it was like I had no idea what I was saying or where that came from. But everything I started doing started aligning with love. So holistically, love is the highest vibrational energy there is. So if I'm bringing everybody back to that harmony, and there is no such thing as balance in the world of energy, because if you're balanced, you're at a dead standstill, and energy is always moving. It's always in flux. It's vibration and frequency. So what you tell yourself, right? So if I'm telling myself I'm stupid and I continue to do so, and it's manifesting in some way, shape, or form in my body, then what happens is moving forward, it's going to start compounding itself. If I take a pill, it's just going to mask it. It's still going to be there. It's going to lock harder and louder to get past the meds and all the other stuff that we're popping. Some people go to drugs, some people go to alcohol, some people just pop pills, and when you address it and you're being true to yourself, then there's relief. The shoulders come down because it's like, oh, that was it. Wonderful. So if we go to the study of water, by the Japanese scientist, Dr. Emoto, he talks about the power of prayer. He talks about the power of water. If your body is 78% water, and on a molecular level, it's 99% water, right? Those are big numbers. Every thought you think affects every cell of your body. And every cell of your body is attached to an organ, which is attached to ease or dis-ease. We get to choose.
Wow, that's a lot. I've seen those water. I think a lot of people have seen those water studies where they speak words of life and the
Yes.
water is beautiful. They speak words of death and the water is literally,
Looks like a cancer cell.
oh my gosh.
So
Oh,
imagine what that does to your body.
can we give some background context so people understand where you came from, like
Yeah.
your schooling, training, and all that as well? Please, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking. So I started, I started out bringing dead plants back to life, and my father was like, "You can't get a career doing that. Become a nurse." Yes, sir. How high, sir? You know, because I was one of those people-pleasing kids back then.
Hang
And
on,
I,
bringing dead plants back to life. So nursing things that are almost dead back to, okay.
yeah, well, when I was really young, I lived in Massachusetts. And at the end of my street was a forest. So I've always been a nature girl. And my parents would argue and whatnot. And I would retreat into the forest. And there was a bush that was like a little igloo. And I used to have my little dolls at the time. And I would take them to this forest igloo and I would heal them all with leaves. So I always knew I was a healer, always. I just didn't know how to articulate it or get it out later in life until I started nursing. And like most things I do in life, I throw myself into 100%. And I'm like, I'm going to be the next Florence Nightingale and save the world. Well, wow, was I thwarted, you know? And I remember as a kid, I would ask a million questions because I was curious, which is a sign of intelligence. And I didn't know that back then. And my dad was like, "You ask too many questions. Shut up, go play." Like most of the kids, go. So I was always getting shoo-shooed off. And then fast forward, I go into nursing and I start questioning the doctors. "You're sending this patient home with this script, but you're masking the symptoms. You're not getting to the root cause. Shut up and just do your job." And I went, "No." Right. And then during the course of my divorce, my horse got struck by lightning here in Florida. And it's the lightning capital of the world. And it was my second horse, not my first horse, but my second horse. The first one died. And the second one, and the vet said to me, "Karen, you're going through a divorce. You've got little kids. It's going to cost a fortune to rehab this horse." And I've always been intuitive and I've always been spiritual. And I remember closing my eyes, getting still, and my eyes flew open and he was inches from my face. And I said, "Not only is he going to survive, but he and I are going to become a catalyst for change." Thus my whole solution journey, because it has been really, truly of mind, body, spirit. And I'm a product of my environment. And right around the same time when my horse got struck by lightning and he survived and I became a catalyst for change with him, my mother got ill. And my mother, I found her on the floor. She was curled up in a fetal position. She was hypochondriac, right? She was looking for love in all the wrong places, right? So she was craving it and just putting it, "Oh, this hurts, that hurts." And people were like, "Oh, poor." And she took on art classes at 70 years old. And she had nobody. I was 2.5 hours away. She had no one to show her art to. So she'll go to the doctor's office. "I have a migraine." "Oh, I love your painting. Can't wait to see the next one." What do? They give her a script for the migraine. And then she would paint something new and she'd go back, "Ooh, this is gorgeous, but now I'm like nauseous. Here's a script for the nausea." She was going to 3 doctors doing that. And she was on 19 medications when I found her on the floor slurring her words. And I said, "The buck stops here, not on my watch." So I've made it a mission, for lack of better, to become that catalyst of change and really allow people to know they have a choice in their overall well-being. I had a major accident I shared with you a little bit last year in Costa Rica. I don't speak Spanish, and I went flying off a horse. I'm not foreign to horses. I have horses, right? Been around them for a long time, many, many years. And this horse had sore feet. And I read the signs because I am empathetic, I'm intuitive, And they were like, oh, yeah, he throws his shoes all the time. And I'm like, salt water on an open wound is very painful. Right? So we get up to the crowd and we're all just about to gallop off. And this wave comes along. I went 6 feet up in the air, actually snapped my femur off and fractured my pelvis and dislocated my back. And the doctor said your chances of walking again are going to be very, very slim, but possible, but slim. And I said, your diagnosis doesn't have to be my prognosis. And I was up dancing last week and I'm riding around, driving. I'm getting back from a road trip. And, so the mind is a very powerful tool. So again, energy, what are you feeding it? What are you telling it? And who are you being, more importantly?
Wow. Wow. Okay. Favorite part of working with people? What would that be?
Their aha moments when they get who they are. And I'm working with someone right now, and he really stepped into he calls it his uh, champion warrior. And we've created an avatar, a photo of it. And when he gets down and out, it's on his phone. So he just looks at it, and, right? Mine is Wonder Woman, right? So I do all the work. You get behind the clock. So everything that I've asked somebody else to do, I've done myself. And if not, we'll find out. But I love, love, love that aha moment. It just fills my soul.
Beautiful. Hey, what's coming up? I know some stuff's coming up in book and so let's talk about what's new.
Yeah, so I am an international best-selling collaborative author, and today I have two books coming up. Today, High Vibrational Wellness. Everything I do is around holistic well-being. I did the Healthopedia book last year. It became in 8 hours best-selling book in 13 categories in 8 hours in 13 countries or something ridiculous. And that is the holistic PDF version of the Western medicine's physician's desk reference. So that was all about words as medicine, was my chapter in that one. This one is High Vibrational Wellness, which just launched today. So we're waiting patiently. And then next month, Essence of a Woman is coming out. Again, holistic from the intuitive aspect. So I'm doing that.
Wow.
And yeah, also about to launch a course that's pretty much do it yourself, because people ask me all the time, like, how do you do it? How do you remain so strong and unstoppable, Karen? And it's like, you can do it too. I choose, and I give them a starting place. And it's called everything. There's a butterfly on the end of the horse's nose here. And for me, that's all about transformation. And you have to start someplace. You choose to. You don't have to do anything. You choose to start someplace. So I give them the option of choice and what's possible. And I created the butterfly technique, which will be within the Chrysalis Empowerment Solution that will hopefully be launched next month. And it's really empowering people to empower themselves and being an advocate for yourself.
We really are there in the world right now where it's about learning what does that mean to be empowered, like, and how it starts like within us somehow. It's really where humanity seems to be going. Well, I thank you for being an ENTV today. Do you remember who invited you here?
Yes, I do. I can see her face and I cannot remember her name. That sounds terrible. She was in the Forbes Riley group with me. She
Okay.
was a school teacher. Her name gets away from me at the moment, but
Well,
yeah.
let's just tell her thank you for inviting Karen to the
Thank you
group.
for thank you for
Yeah.
inviting me. I'm sorry I forgot you.
Karen, our networking events are relaunching. Anyone who's been interviewed this year will have access to be on a networking event. I'll be releasing those by next week. So look for that. I'll send you the link for that too. So you can come on and they're broadcast live. So you get to be on stage with 10, 20, 30 people. And then you guys will get to network on camera. So
Oh,
look for that.
beautiful.
That'll be fun. Well, thank
Awesome.
you so much, Karen. Closing words to the community. Anything you want to remind them of or let them know?
to your own, be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. You know, givers get, but also learn to harmonize yourself
Oh,
with giving and receiving, right? If you don't receive there, you're out of the balance. And, you know, a lot of people forget to do that, but that's when magic starts happening. So be the magic. You have that power. Be powerful. Own
wow.
your power. Yeah.
You have that magic. Be powerful. Thank you, Karen, with Tranquil Solutions for being here, Karen Rudolf. I'll be tagging you, Karen. Any links you have after Karen to your books, anything you got, please drop in the comments of the Facebook interview after. We'll go
Okay.
off here, keep chatting for a minute. ENTV today, please reach out to Karen. Let her know what you appreciate about her interview. And she'd love to connect with you if you're vibing with her. All right, we'll see y'all soon.